Okay, so we've seen how to graph a line whenever we're given some clues or some hints. But what if it just says graph the linear equation? 2x plus y equals 6. They've not given us any starting points. They haven't told us, what to try, anything like that. Well, here's a very interesting idea. You are in charge of what numbers you use to graph with. And this is very difficult for students to understand. Okay, let me back up here. If I want to figure out what this picture looks like, I have to go through and find some points. It's the only way that I can graph it. Well, they haven't told me anything to start with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, this is called a T-chart, and I'm just going to choose some x values. Now, when I said that you're in charge, this is what I mean. You can choose the x values that you want to try in your equation. I might choose different x values than you would, and you might choose different x values than the person sitting next to you would, but that's okay. We will all come up with points that lie on the same line, and that's what's important. For this equation, I like to try some things, usually something that's positive and something that's negative. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use negative 2 as an x value, and then 0, and then positive 2. That way I've got something, something over here, something here, and something over here. Okay, I need to finish out this point. If x is negative 2, I need to find the y that goes with that. Well, we have this equation for that purpose. This equation says take 2 times whatever the x value is. We've chosen negative 2. Then add y, and that should equal 6. Well, 2 times negative 2 would be negative 4, plus y should equal 6. In order to get y alone, I would have to do the opposite of minus 4, which would be a positive 4. I'm going to do that to both sides of that equation. So now I have y equals 6 plus 4, which is 10. So when I had an x value of negative 2, the y value that must go with that to make this statement true is 10. Well, that forms a point. The point negative 2, 10 would be right there. Okay, let's find another point. Here I've said, well, let's just see what happens when x is 0. Well, if x is 0, that means I'm replacing x with 0, so 2 times 0 plus y equals 6. Well, 2 times 0 is 0. That's gone. So really, we just have y equals 6. If we have an x value of 0, the y value must be 6 in order to make that statement true. And again, that forms a point. 0 in the x direction, 6 in the y direction. And then finally, we're going to do this last one, where an x value of 2. So we have 2 times negative 2 plus y has to equal 6. 2 times negative 2 would be negative 4, plus y is supposed to equal, I'm going to erase that, stop that. We're using a positive 2. I've already done the negative 2. Sorry about that. So that would be 2 times an x value of 2, that's much better, plus y equals 6. 2 times 2 would be 4, plus y equals 6. So again, what do we have to add to 4 to get 6? We know what the answer should be, but we're going to do this properly. Let's subtract 4 from both sides to get y equals 2. So when I have an x value of 2, the y must be 2 in order to make the statement true. That's the point 2, 2. Now, do you see that those lie on that same line? Absolutely. So that is the graph of that equation. Now, I chose negative 2, 0, and 2. You might want to choose 1, 2, 3. You would get this part of the equation if you did that, but they are still lying along that same exact line.